The Mannin Line with Andy Wint.
Open line today, call 66 13 68, text or WhatsApp on 166 177, email studio@manxradio.com. Well, how's your TT been so far? Everything okay? Oh, just a quick word in from Captain Tim, who dropped a note in. Thank you, Captain Tim, who just said, having worked in the North Sea on installation vessels involved in offshore wind turbine construction in the Danish sector, using turbines around half the size of Ørsted's proposed units, I can say that the noise generated during pile driving and grouting operations is extremely significant. The scale of construction involved is enormous, millions of tons of cement, substantial vessel traffic, heavy cranes, barges and tugboats operating around the clock, only 6 miles offshore. Tim said these proposed turbines would reportedly stand at approximately 3 times the height of Bradda Head, which would dramatically alter the seascape. There are also serious concerns regarding the potential impact on fishing, marine life, bird populations, tourism and leisure sailing. The cumulative environmental and economic effects should not be underestimated. Tim goes on, in addition, wind turbines have an operational lifespan of 15 to 20 years. After that, a major decommissioning phase will be required, involving further industrial activity, underwater noise and environmental disruption. Foundations and caissons may have to be cut below the seabed level, creating another complex engineering operation with associated impacts. The question is whether our politicians and decision makers have fully considered the long-term consequences of projects on this scale. Captain Tim says, I think not. Well, that's Captain Tim's point of view regarding the More Vannin offshore wind plan for the east coast of the Isle of Man. And when you talk about, just a thought popped into my head, when you talk about decommissioning, do you have to decommission, or can they just keep them going for as long as possible and just replace stuff as it needs to happen? There will be 87 of them, so it'll be a fairly full-time job, won't it? But that's Tim's point of view, and if you have anything to add, by all means do get in touch. Text, email, call, WhatsApp. Here's Bonzo with us now. Hi, Bonzo.
Hello. Yes. Just returning to a couple of things that Julian was saying yesterday about the temperature in India.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. The heat index. But the actual temperature, which is 47.6, is still 117.68 degrees Fahrenheit. Which is not something you'd want to be walking around in the midday sun.
Is it what they're used to? I mean, is it dramatically up on what has happened in the Indian subcontinent, Bonzo?
That is nearing record temperature.
Oh, yeah, I see. Right. Okay.
The absolute record is 51 Celsius in Delhi, which is 122 or something.
Crikey!
I think, but that and then the humidity as well make it pretty
unbearable,
dangerous to be pretty dangerous to be outside for any sort of great level of time. And indeed, the Prime Minister Modi has been putting out messages to the nation saying they'd use water sparingly and offer some to your neighbours if they haven't got any, and that sort of thing. So pretty rough times there. I also noticed Julian either was listening to me on Monday or has been listening to me in the past and has now woken up to it, about the index linking of Ørsted's payments over the 35-year term.
Well, you brought this up before. You brought this up before, haven't you?
Oh yeah. Oh yes, I've been bringing this up for quite some time. So yeah, I didn't know it was quite such a drop off, but I hadn't really done the sums on the indexing against inflation. I'm not quite sure what numbers Julian might be using, but yes, my assumption would be that the payment would, in real terms, be at least 60% lower by the end of the term than it was at the start. And I think his calculation was actually somewhat more. So, I'd err on that for precautionary purposes. So, yeah, until we know that we're going to get a decent sized amount of money, not even considering it. That should be the actual first thing. That's what you have to, put on the table when you first talk to us, and then we'll talk to you about letting you do this. But that's the absolute minimum for you to even come and talk to us.
Well, you've mentioned in the past you'd like the boss of the big boss of Ørsted to come to the Isle of Man to explain the situation.
Well, absolutely. I'd like them. Yes, I'd like the group people to actually come and negotiate with the Isle of Man as a nation state, because that's what we are. Okay, we're a crown dependency, but we still, I think, on such a project of such national impact, I think the head honcho ought to be here and talking to us about it. And we talk. Are we talking to them?
You don't think that Ørsted are making the mistake of thinking we're just like Cumbria or Lancashire, do you?
I don't know about that, because I think they may be making the mistake that we're a bunch of little islanders who are kind of stumblebums, and will be prepared to sell things for 4 magic beans and a turnip. Yeah. But they seem to forget that we're a sophisticated offshore global financial centre, and we do rather big things and sort of leading edge stuff. And don't talk to us like that, mate. Yeah? But on another sort of wonderful green subject, something that perhaps Eddie and Julian and I might agree on. That'd be odd. Is the participation in TT of legit racing who are using 40% sustainable fuel.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, they say, and indeed it's featured on your website. I think you were carrying an item on this, on news this morning.
Yeah.
That apparently they're getting great results out of it. It's not. It's not producing any sort of diminished effect for the bikes in any way. They're still absolutely doing as they're supposed to, and it's the way forward. Certainly the way forward for motorsport. Proving that we can be sort of green and noisy.
And also, I mean, the guy behind it has been saying that obviously with the global reach of the TT, this is perfect advertising for them, for legit racing. But this, what's it called? Sustain, isn't it? The fuel's called Sustain.
Yeah. But it's indeed the Royal Air Force are moving to high percentage, or indeed a target, the aspiration of 100% sustainable fuel for obvious strategic reasons. But yes, it's reprocessed biomass, chip fat, all the other sort of yucky things that we'd normally just bung down the drain, and they put it through their magic sort of chemical pipes and processes, and out comes synthetic petrol.
Well, that's fantastic.
Brilliant. The only problem is it's a bit expensive at the moment, because of scale. But certainly in the sort of immediate and near future, it offers a great lifeline, as it were, for motorsport to be motorsport rather than sounding a bit like a food mixer sport. So we can actually have nice green, loud things. So indeed, I'm surprised Kawasaki didn't take it up, seeing as they're green.
Wow. Okay. All right. Good to hear from you. Thanks, Bonzo.
Okay, then. Bye.
All right. 16 minutes past 12 on Manx Radio. Yes, this is all about legit racing, running a 40% sustainable fuel at the 2026 event. It's a first in legit racing's powering the rider Ryan Garside with environmentally conscious fuel. They've teamed up with this company called Sustain to use fuel which contains less than 0.1%, a tenth of a percent of ethanol. It also contains second generation biomass, food, agricultural waste, straw and non-food byproducts. Sounds great, doesn't it? Unlike conventional fossil fuels where carbon stored underground for millions of years is released as carbon dioxide, these feedstocks actually recycle carbon, which is already in the atmosphere. So we wish them well, and if you want to go and have a word with them, there's a tent that says Sustain Fuels on it behind the grandstand. I'm sure they'll be happy to tell you all about it. The guy behind it, the brand manager is Suresh Nahar. So that's Sustain and the legit racing people and Ryan Garside and that sustainable fuel. It's, what are we now? 17 minutes past 12. Some news from the TT. Amy's with us now. What's the news, Amy?
Yes, I've just had a statement from the Isle of Man TT races, and it says, following an incident involving a sidecar team during the third qualifying session of the TT races this year, the race organisation initiated an immediate technical and operational review to assess the circumstances surrounding the incident and the continued participation of the sidecar class at the event. Following that review, and in conjunction with the event promoter, a decision's been taken to suspend the sidecar class for the remainder of the 2026 Isle of Man TT races. This precautionary measure has been implemented in the interest of competitor and spectator safety and reflects the race organisation's commitment to reviewing all aspects of event safety and operational delivery whenever an incident occurs. All sidecar competitors and teams involved in the event have been briefed by race officials on the outcome of the initial review and the next stages of the assessment process. And the Isle of Man TT races says it recognises the long-standing history of sidecar racing at the TT, together with the commitments of the competitors, teams and supporters involved in the class, and stresses that this decision has not been taken lightly. However, it says the safety of competitors, spectators, marshals, officials and all those involved in the event must remain the priority, and further updates will be issued in due course.
Okay, Amy, thank you very much indeed. Thanks for that information, and we'll, of course, give you any more details throughout the day. But there it is. That's the news for TT 2026. No chairs. Howard's with us now. Hi, Howard.
Hiya, Andy. So sad, really, but you've got to safety as a priority. We're dealing with lives here, not just items.
Yeah.
It's a hard decision to make, but I think, in my own mind, they've made the right one. But also with the TT, as Bonzo was saying, with the sustainable fuels and yourself, it's a natural progression because, as I say, when I was at the airport, Honda used to order 50 45-gallon barrels of avgas, and they used to mix it at the required ratios themselves, they decided. And that was every year. We used to bring in 50 barrels of avgas for them, and they would use that. But then, again, the natural progression, they went on to, and it was specified by the ACU, that it has to be ordinary 4-star petrol. So all engines were the same then. And now it's just gone one step further using biofuels. But it is a natural progression right the way down through, not only vehicles on the road, ordinary vehicles on the road, but racing vehicles. I think Formula One are using some of it now in the cars. Yeah. But what I'm coming on for, and it's something that, it's something I saw this morning and something that happened to me not so very long ago. It's going back to the point where the promenade was rebuilt and they put those damned roundels there, one at the bottom of Broadway and one at the end of Marina Road. people are using them, what I see now, more and more as roundabouts. Yet when the promenade was finished and the controversy was there, even the police come in on it and said they are not roundabouts. And the chief constable at the time said they are unmarked junctions. And if you look at the highway code, an unmarked junction is where a minor road comes onto a major road, a main road. So on the promenade, which ones do you define as being the minor road, particularly in the aspect of Broadway and the promenade? Is the promenade the main road, or is Broadway the main road? I ask this because the other day I was coming along the promenade, and luckily enough I was far enough behind this vehicle ahead of me, and he must have forgot, oh damn, I meant to turn up Church Road past the church.
Yeah.
He'd done a U-turn right the way round that roundel and come right across the front of me and went up Church Road. So that was the potential for a collision. And I saw one this morning doing much the same thing, but just turning around to go back along the promenade. Now, can somebody from the DOI, the police, or somebody with proper information tell the public and define what those roundels are? At the moment, they're little more than a fancy pattern with no legal aspect, a fancy pattern on the road that somebody in an office has drawn on their computer because it looks pretty. But as I say, my car, I don't want it written off, but that's where it was heading for. If I hadn't have been behind this fella sufficiently far enough, with him doing a complete U-turn, a reverse letter P, he would have wiped the front of my car out.
So presumably, as you say, if we've been told that these are unmarked junctions, you're not allowed to do a U-turn. You can't do 270 degrees around there.
But people have, I've seen more and more of it recently, and particularly people who's coming along the promenade, and Broadway is happening the same. And one of our daughters is over recently, and she drives a lot of miles in the UK. She lives up in Scotland, and she was coming down Broadway, and the lights at the bottom of Broadway going onto the promenade were green, facing up the hill. So she assumed they were the traffic lights, so she went straight through.
Yeah.
But they weren't. They were the pedestrian crossing lights that were wrongly placed, and they were the green lights for the pedestrians to go across.
Right.
So, again, somewhere in the system, the Highway Board, well, the DOI as it is now, and the police should get their heads together and make a proper attempt to describe, tell the people what it is. And which one do you say is the promenade the main road, or is Broadway the main road?
Well, in respect of the Church Road Marina, I would say that the promenade is the main road, because Church Road, that's a minor road. Where Broadway is concerned, I mean, my opinion will be, for what it's worth, the fact that there's a pedestrian crossing at the bottom of Broadway would kind of make that a minor road, or less of a major road than I would say the promenade is the default major road, wouldn't you?
Yes, it always has been. I can go back far enough to remember the policeman down the bottom there.
Oh, crikey.
Yes, they used to have a little platform on an island just at the bottom. They took that all away, and then they put this roundel down. And essentially, if you look at the highway code, etc., there's no mention of it. It is only a fancy pattern in the road. I don't think it would have any legal standing, and particularly if the likes of when it happened to me the other day, if I'd been involved in that accident, how would I explain that to my insurance company?
Yeah.
Because they don't have them. They don't have any definition of them. And we don't have any definition of them here. Within the DOI or the police, they seem to have, even when they finish the promenade, two different opinions of them. And as I think it was Mr. Harmer said, you'll get used to them. You'll get used to them.
It was, and the late Tim Baker said, you'll learn to love them.
Yes, yeah. But for people to treat them like that, as I say, and I'm seeing more of. I was downtown this morning. I was walking back over to the Gaiety, and next thing, this one swung round on the promenade, and that essentially is doing a U-turn at a road junction, which is. Apart from the fact that it's not safe, you wonder about the legality of it.
I'm trying to remember now. You've started me on the policeman at the bottom of Broadway. Do you remember that? Do you remember that little parade of shops that used to be when there was a break between the Central and the Prom? Yep. There was a group of shops and a cafe there, wasn't there?
There was, and Bridson's the chemist,
That's
and
right.
various other ones, and the souvenir shops, etc. But in Castlemona Avenue, you used to go in the back of them.
That's right, yeah.
And then, instead of going in from the promenade now, it went into the back of them, right alongside the Central Hotel.
Yeah. All right.
And the policeman, as I say, used to keep us stand over by the Villa Marina where the toilets were. I don't know if they're still there or not. And then he'd drag it out onto that little island, and he would stand there and direct the traffic when we were busy. Yeah. And it worked.
Okay. All right. Howard, we appreciate it. If we can get some sense, we'll find out.
May God go with you.
Thank you. Thanks for calling today.
Thank you. Cheers, Andy.
Bye-bye now. 27 minutes before past 12 it is. Official guidance from both the Constabulary and DOI is that Douglas Prom's roundels are not legally roundabouts. Police clarified in September 2021 they should be treated as unmarked junctions under the Highway Code. This means no driver automatically has priority in the way that they would at a conventional roundabout. They're not roundabouts, they are unmarked junctions. Motorists, and that's you, are expected to approach slowly, proceed cautiously, and give way appropriately to other road users, i.e. give way to the right. The Constabulary specifically advised drivers to treat the area as a shared low-speed environment designed to calm traffic rather than operate under normal roundabout rules, i.e. nobody quite knows what it is, so slow down, you never know what's going to happen. There was earlier confusion because some DOI comments initially suggested drivers should use roundabout principles, but the later formal clarification from police and government ministers confirmed the roundels are officially classed as unmarked junctions, not roundabouts. Get it? Not roundabouts. Underlined. According to later Tynwald answers from the Justice and Home Affairs Minister, pedestrians, cyclists and vehicles effectively share equal priority there, so drivers should not assume a right-of-way simply because they're already on the roundel. Talking of traffic news, the Mountain Road is closed. There's been an accident, an RTC on the mountain, so that's closed at the moment. Here's Pip with us now. Hi, Pip.
How you doing?
Very well. You're live on the air. What's on your mind?
It's just like they've cancelled the sidecars, and there's been more accidents with the bikes this year. Why didn't they cancel them when the bike went into the public?
Well, they've cancelled them. First things first, they've cancelled the sidecars following the incident involving a sidecar team in the qualifying session. They've had a review and what have you, and they've cancelled the sidecars this year. What do you think about it?
I think it's a joke because a lot of people have paid a lot of money to come over to the island to watch the sidecars. And how many accidents have been on the bikes this year?
And, well, never mind the people who've come to watch. What about the teams that have paid fortunes, tens of thousands of pounds to come here?
Let's see that the government give them any money back.
Oh, so you think there should be some compensation?
Oh, yes, there should be. They spend thousands to come over to here, get ripped off by the steam pack, getting ripped off by the government.
All right. OK, well, Pip, we'll try and find out the circumstances of all this, but we understand your feelings. OK.
Yeah, thank you very much, fella.
OK, 12:30 it is. The TT people say they recognise the long-standing history of sidecar racing at the TT, together with the commitment of competitors, teams and supporters involving the class, and it hasn't been taken lightly. There's obviously something at the bottom of all this, and we'll try and find out what it is. And as soon as we know what it is, we'll let you know. Text, email, call and WhatsApp. Now, bearing in mind what Howard was talking about yesterday regarding fibre.
Oh, hello. I'm just listening to the Mannin programme. My name is Vanessa. We live in Ballamadrel, Port Erin, and we also have no fibre at the moment. And I went into Manx Telecom, and they promised they would probably be now 2030 when they'd install it. But the funny thing is that on our estate, some people have had cable brought into their house and have done it privately. So it's not happening in Port Erin at the moment. Okay, bye.
Well, how about that? Did you hear that? 2030 in Port Erin for cable. 2030 for cable and for fibre in Port Erin. A mother on the Isle of Man's told Manx Radio she believes more support's needed for children going through crisis. It follows her personal experience with her daughter. At times, she said, they've had to wait up to 10 hours to be seen by medical and care professionals with particular difficulties out of hours. The woman who's remaining anonymous says it can be absolutely devastating. This is the story.
We contact the crisis team, and there have been times where we've waited 10 hours just to even be seen. Then they say they can't do anything, or they'll put her on the children's ward, which is great, but then they release her 48 hours later saying you can manage at home.
When your child is having a bad day, can you describe that scenario to us?
We have to keep a constant eye on her. Being working parents with other children, it can become especially stressful because it doesn't just affect us as parents, it also affects her siblings. And they are well aware of what she's trying to do when she's in that moment. So we'll contact CAMS. If they're open, we can get seen or a phone call. But there is no support when it's outside of hours. So if an adult was going through this, I haven't experienced this, but I would assume they'd be admitted to Mannin Court. As a teenager, there is nowhere for them to go other than the children's ward, but they are literally there for sick kids, not for children going through crises. They need to be in an area where this is understood mentally. We've been through this so many times over the past few years. We are just getting nowhere. Absolutely nowhere. There is no support for her. And any other children who are going through this, it's sad really. And when your child is in hospital, you have to then explain to the other children where she is. And as parents, we don't know what to do in that situation. They'll do something after something's happened. And that's the first time she got listened to was when she attempted.
How do you cope as a parent?
You have to, don't you? There's no other option. You have to cope, and we just take every day as it comes.
This is obviously a very private story. Manx Care says they're committed to ensuring children can access appropriate mental health support when they need it, including during periods of crisis. You can find all the details about that at manxradio.com. What do you make of that? I just wonder what your thoughts are, particularly if you have any experience regarding this type of situation, not this particular situation, but this type of situation. Do you agree that a separate designated facility is needed here, similar to Mannin Court, for young people, as opposed to the children's ward at Nobles Hospital? Perhaps you've had your own experiences with the team and you'd like to share them with Mannin Line. So call, text, email or WhatsApp.
SMS Trading. New and second-hand furniture from flat pack to fully built. See our range at 3 St Paul Square, Ramsey. All island delivery and man in a van service available. Call SMS Trading on 315151 or find SMS Trading on Facebook.
Ellen Vannin Fuels promotes road safety and would like to thank their customers for their understanding about restricted access and deliveries on and around the TT course during this year's festival. Safety first with Ellen Vannin Fuels.
Elevate rubber cover from Rubber Roof Shop for one-piece flat roofing systems. No joins, no leaks. We also line commercial box gutters in one piece up to 60 metres with a 20-year written warranty against leakage. Call Rubber Roof Shop on 49667.
Financial Options and Chase Wealth Solutions are committed to quality financial advice for the whole island. We have opened a new office at the Mountain View Innovation Centre in Ramsey, where we offer mortgage advice on Mondays and life assurance, investment and pension advice the rest rest of the week. Call 640-350 to book. Financial options and Chase Wealth Solutions, serving the whole island. Chase Financial Services Limited, trading as Financial Options and Chase Wealth Solutions, is regulated by the Isle of Man Financial Services Authority.
Wellness doesn't have to be complicated. Sometimes it's as simple as wild swimming in crystal waters, walking cliff paths with sweeping views, or cycling quiet island lanes. On the islands of Guernsey, you can do it all. Across 5 islands that you can hop between with ease: Guernsey, Herm, Sark, Alderney, Liu. Each one is different, but all of them are a breath of fresh air. Reconnect with nature. Reconnect with yourself. Start your wellness journey at visitguernsey.com.
Do you ever feel that the news sounds, well, a little familiar? Chances are it's because you've heard it all before. Using windmills to produce power, we were trialling those in the early 1960s, old news. Reform of the Legislative Council, they were talking about that in the 1950s and earlier, the old news. Problems at Peel Commissioners, the Examiner suggested there was another farce there in 1945, old news. Listen to these stories and more in the Old News podcast with me, H, available via your usual podcast provider or direct from the Manx Radio website. And you can also hear each new podcast broadcast live every Sunday morning just after 8:30. There's nothing new under the sun, it seems. It's all old news.
The Mannin Line with Andy Wint.
23 minutes before 1, and isn't it great to be a biker, says Anne. You get scans and operations at Nobles as soon as you come off your bike, while my Manx husband has had to wait 6 months for his scan due to ripped muscle damage and has another endless wait for his operation. It's not fair. And Jenny said, while I understand cycling is sometimes people's only method of transport, I don't understand why cyclists decide to ride for pleasure during TT. The roads are busy enough already. It's inconsiderate. It's dangerous, says Jenny. And remember, for cycling is prohibited on the mountain road, of course, during the one-way system. While that's in place, the one-way system is in place until Tuesday, the 9th of June. So a week on Tuesday, it's all still going to be one way. So, but yes, and certainly I'll be interested to see, because Saturday morning is always a big day for the mammals, as it's the middle-aged men in Lycra, to be out and about. Lots of bikes, so we'll see. Anyway, Eric's with us now. Oh, sorry, Commissioner Eric. How are you, Eric?
Hi, Andy. Yeah, I'm good. I'll have to do David's work on you. I'm talking as me and not as a commissioner.
Okay, all right.
I'd just like to say, I'm very happy to get back into the commissioners yesterday. It's a pity there was no election, but, you know, if people don't stand, people will walk in without having to face an election. While I'm in there now, the things I've seen that need doing, we need to do some with derelict properties. Commissioners really need to hammer home that we want Ramsey Cottage Hospital to stay. And basically, I think we need a bit of common sense in the commissioners.
Okay, so I'm trying to remember, when were you last in the commissioners, Eric?
It was 6 years ago.
Right, okay.
So I did 2 years then, so I have 2 years this time because it's a by-election, so we're halfway through. I hope you can hear, because I'm sitting with a load of bikes. No,
you're loud and clear, Eric, loud and clear.
Yeah.
So, just to be quite honest, why did you put yourself forward?
Well, basically, I've run out of things to be doing a lot of my time. You know, a lot of my time was taken up with fighting the government and the bus vanning. So, once that's all sorted now, I've just got off the bus now to grandstand. And I am a bit short of things to do, and I want to give something back to Ramsey. I've lived there nearly all my life. It's a brief period when I didn't. But, you know, it needs people to do something. It's no use everybody's complaining, you know, but put yourself forward for these elections, and then you just might be able to change something.
Okay. All right. Eric, we appreciate it. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, okay, thanks, Sam.
Good to hear from you. That's Commissioner Eric Corkish, who got in yesterday at Ramsey Commissioners. Well done to him. Pam dropped a note in and just said, why have they cancelled the sidecars? The accident on Monday, which injured 8 spectators, didn't involve a sidecar, so why not cancel the whole thing to protect competitors and spectators? They're just using this as an excuse to stop the sidecars. Well, we've combed through the responses. Officially, the organisers aren't saying the sidecar class was suspended because of Monday's spectator incident. Their statement says the decision follows a separate incident involving a sidecar team during qualifying, and that a technical and operational review is now underway. And obviously, but this point reflects a question that many people are now asking, why one class has been halted when other more serious incidents this week have involved solo motorbikes. But at the moment, there's no verified evidence that organisers are using it as an excuse to remove sidecars permanently. The TT organisers haven't announced any permanent ban, just a suspension pending a review. In motorsport, organisers can suspend one category if they believe there may be a specific category safety concern linked to that class without stopping the entire event. Until the TT organisation publishes the findings of the review, there's no official confirmation of exactly what prompted the decision or whether the sidecar class's long-term future is under threat. Well, that's an ominous thought, isn't it? I'm feeling sorry for the sidecar teams. Let's remember, these are mainly privateers who sacrifice very much, a lot to be here. Will they be compensated? And best wishes to the Crow Boys for a swift recovery, says 258. I mean, these teams, and again, as 258 said, they're mainly privateers, tens of thousands of pounds they put into this to come. Texter 114 said, there's just been a question about U-turns on the roundels on the prom. Is it the same as on a roundabout? No, it's not, because the roundels aren't roundabouts. Underlined. 20-point font. They're not roundabouts. They are unmarked junctions, and you have to treat them as an unmarked junction. It's a bit of jeopardy on the prom. What a shambles, a shame about the sidecar. They should let them do a parade lap behind the travelling marshals on Saturday and Wednesday, keeping the speed down. Cancelling the sidecar, says Ray, was the right thing to do. Lives matter and safety, as always, is paramount. We were in Agra 40 years ago. The temperature was 47 degrees, says Doug, so it's not unusual talking about the Indian temperatures. There's a good programme, Texter 802 said there's a good programme on BBC iPlayer called Scandinavia with Simon Reeve. Episode 3 shows him interviewing the designer of huge wind turbines. It's a must-watch for everyone on the Isle of Man. Scandinavia with Simon Reeve, Episode 3. And let's get back to the phones, and here's John now. Hi, John.
Hi, roundels.
Yeah.
As a retired driving examiner, I have always treated them as a roundabout. Whether they're a roundabout or not, if you treat them as a roundabout, everything works. Now, I've always come, my wife volunteers at the Gaiety, and I've come along the prom, and to drop her off, I've done a U-turn on it, but slowly. And providing you do it slowly and everybody keeps the speed down, there's absolutely nothing wrong, because there are no signs there saying no U-turns.
Yeah.
In fact, there's nowhere on the prom that it says, because let's face it, taxis, for instance, quite often do a U-turn on the prom.
Yeah.
So, if what it boils down to is if you use it at a safe speed so everybody can see what you're doing and react to what you're doing, there's no problem. It's the ones that try to do it too fast. That's the problem, because then the other people can't react quick enough.
I mean, when they say that, I mean, officially they're called unmarked junctions.
Yeah.
That's a bit weird, isn't it? An unmarked junction, it's like a crossroads with no paint.
Yeah, but there again, when you get an unmarked junction, unless it says you can't do a U-turn, there's nothing to stop you doing a U-turn.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know, it's no use saying you can't do a U-turn because there's nothing to say that.
Right.
I mean, I was completely against them in the beginning, I must admit. But I find now, providing you use the correct speed and approach, that if you treat them as a roundabout, it works.
Well, the thing is, John, if everybody slowed down, and I'm guessing that's what they're saying underneath it all, this is a traffic calming measure. If everybody did slow down, but you occasionally get the kind of raging Herbert who wants to skim across them, and that puts everybody's back up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's the speed that is the whole problem.
Right.
It's as simple as that.
Okay.
Because if everybody was travelling at an appropriate speed, going round, whether they're doing a U-turn or just turning right, if everybody was going at an appropriate speed, everybody else could then react to what was happening.
Okay. All right. Appreciate it, John. Thanks for calling today.
Okay. Bye now.
All right. It's 14 minutes now before 1. The hottest temperature ever recorded on Earth, says Richard, was at Furnace Creek in Death Valley in 1913, long before anybody was talking about climate change or worrying about how hot it was in India. What was it, though, Richard? You've now teased us with the hottest temperature ever, Furnace Creek, Death Valley. I've heard about Death Valley, 1913. Here's a message in from Andy, just said, regarding the proposed offshore Ørsted wind farm, how simple is it for the Isle of Man government just to ask Ørsted, do you want to use our seabed for a wind farm? If yes, these are the terms. X amount of pounds payment for the lease per year for 25 years for X number of turbines at maximum agreed dimensions plus X% of net revenue per year. At the end of 25 years, you either remove or replace the turbines at your own cost and you provide an insurance bond in case this is not done. Why is it so difficult for the Chief Minister to secure a deal in favour of the Isle of Man? Well, you just summed the whole thing up, Andy. Well done. That's it all done in 30 seconds. Here's Julian now. Hi, Julian.
Hi, Andy. How you doing?
Well, very well, thank you.
The cancellation of the sidecars, which is absolutely ridiculous, because they're going to cancel it on the Northwest 200 then, or are they going to? Are you going to? Who is signed off on this? Is there a name signed underneath as to who's actually come up with this idea from, I assume, health and safety?
Give me a second. 15 pieces of paper here. Let me find it for you.
I can imagine.
It's from the official Here we are. Statement issued at midday 15 on 28th of May today on behalf of Isle of Man TT Racers. This is yes, it's just Isle of Man TT Racers, and what they're saying is because of the incident and the continued participation of the sidecar class. It was involving the sidecar team during the third qualifying session of the 2026 TT races, but they've not said really, there's no detail about what it is that's causing the problem. But obviously, as they've cancelled the class, it's something that can't be remedied.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not unknown that sidecars use ground effect, and this has happened before. I seem to remember there was one that flipped on Bray Hill years ago, so it's not exactly like it's unknown. And people fall off motorbikes, and as you said, somebody said before. How have they arrived at this idea that they're going to cancel on all the sidecar people that have spent a fortune coming over here? Is this just another attack on the TT? It just seems like there is no logic to this. It's a bit... And is it accurate? I mean, they said the other day that it was going to be Parliament Square that was closed, but that's not true either, because it's Albert Square around the corner. Like I said the other day, it was 100 yards away where the actual accident happened. It wasn't even in sight of Parliament Square. So is this actually accurate? Because the information that's coming out seems to be sort of, it's not... it's getting a bit skewed, isn't it? I mean, what possible reason would you have for cancelling sidecars? I mean, they've had accidents on the bike, so why didn't they treat it the same and stop all the bikes then?
Well, at the moment, with restricted information, it's difficult to know. But, I mean, you can only just sympathise with everybody involved in the sidecars. Supporters, yes, but the teams, the amount of money and effort that they put into this, and because it's one of the few places where you can race sidecars, it's a big blow, Julian.
But this makes as much sense as doing a deal with Orsted without them telling us how much it is. I mean, who has come to the conclusion that you cancel sidecars because there's been an accident in a sidecar on a slight downhill when they use ground effect? They do flip. This is just an accepted risk. It's like people watching the TT at Albert Square. It was an accepted risk that there might be a problem because you've got something coming past you at 100 and something miles an hour. So is this health and safety going mad?
Well, as soon as we find out the detail, Julian, we'll let everybody, and including you, know. Okay.
I know. I think an interview with whoever it is that signed off on this, and please explain the steps that they've come to the conclusion that you cancel the sidecars because of this. Because I cannot see any reason why you would do this unless you just want rid of the TT, to be honest.
Okay. All right, Julian, thanks for calling today. It's 10-1 now.
Hello, this is Doug Farragher. In conjunction with Manx Radio, I'd like to invite you to join us and learn something about our native Gaelic tongue, the language of man.
One architectural design company has particular expertise in achieving planning approval for a wide variety of projects, from landmark buildings to spectacular homes. Talk to the experts at Ellis Brown and get your project off the ground. For excellence in design, search Ellis Brown.
Jeffrey, that suit looks terrible. The sleeves are far too long and it doesn't button up in the middle. You need made to measure.
Made to measure? See if I could afford that.
You didn't complain when Spectrum made all our bespoke windows.
That was different. At Spectrum, you get a bespoke service at an off-the-shelf price, whether you choose quality PVC or aluminium.
Visit Spectrum Windows, the showroom, Derby Road, Ramsey, or call 817777.
From morning till late, a new force in food, drink and horsepower has arrived in Douglas. Motor Isle Bar and Grill. Fuel up with awesome coffee, big American breakfasts and grill foods done right. The day rolls on with cold beers or cocktails as huge screens light up with the thrill of sport. Easy mornings to big nights. Motor Isle Bar and Grill, the home of high-velocity hospitality. On Wellington Street, Douglas.
For a wide range of wood-burning stoves and a complete installation service, visit The Snug in Ramsey. And we don't stop there. Kiln-dried firewood and full aftercare service, including chimney sweeps and maintenance. Call The Snug in Ramsey.
Revving up for the TT races. Your local Tesco has barbecue mains, celebration drinks, camping essentials and much more. Tesco, every little helps.
The countdown to the 2026 general election is officially on. On Thursday, the 24th of September, you'll get to have your say on who should represent you in the House of Keys for the next 5 years. But what are the things you really want to know from your candidates? How they feel about wind farms, what they do to improve healthcare, or how they plan to tackle government efficiency. Whatever it is, if you have a burning question for those standing, we want to hear from you. You can find out how and everything else you need to know about the upcoming election on our dedicated election website. Just head to manxradio.com.
The Mannin Line with Andy Wint.
It's 7 minutes before 1. Here's Jeanette. Hi, Jeanette.
Hi, Andy.
What's on your mind, Jeanette?
I've just been told by your producer you're very handy.
Very good.
Handy Andy. So, ask me a question.
What did you call for?
I was getting on to do something, actually. I'm sorry, while I was waiting, I've just bought windows, a new barbecue, and everything while I was waiting. Anyway, Andy.
Yeah.
I don't know what we're talking. Oh, the roundabout.
Oh, the roundels. The roundels.
Is that what they're called?
Yeah, roundels.
Okay. Those big things in the middle of the road in the Isle of Man.
Yeah.
That everyone gets confused about.
But not, but not you, Jeanette.
I do know. Me? I went, what's this? I thought it was one of those crop circles. And I do have to say, I do get a bit stressed when I get there. But I'm actually quite a good driver. But then I was thinking, why don't they take, I can't think of the word, Guernsey, right? In Guernsey, they have roundabouts, right? and you know how to use them. It's like the first one there goes out.
Yeah.
And whatever they do, those little roundabouts, everyone knows about it. If you're the first one there, you move. It's all very okay. Thank you. Bye.
They call it filter. They call it filter in turn, don't they?
That's it. Why didn't they do that here?
Well, we like to be different. We like to have something that's going to perplex people, Jeanette.
Well, we're getting like America, do it all big. Okay. You know what I mean? Let's get bigger. And to be honest, I was like, friggin' hell's this? I got a bit nervous myself. So I don't know. I'm surprised there's not been more.
What type of windows did you buy?
Oh, well, I am thinking about going for Manx glass and glazing.
Oh, very good. They'll be very happy about that. Jeanette, it's good to hear from you. Thanks for that. I'm gutted, says Pauline. There were no more sidecars this year at the TT. Hopefully they'll be back next year, but safety comes first. Swift recovery to everybody injured. Pete said, so the ACU finally succeeded in getting rid of the sidecars from the TT. I hope the teams don't lose out financially. It could run into millions. I agree there should be a full refund of cost to the teams, to the sidecar teams. It's not their fault the organisers have cancelled the event. That's Texter 112. I've just heard there are going to be no sidecar races this year in the TT. Why? This is insane. That's a message from JK. I trust the cancellation of the sidecars isn't related to road resurfacing issues at the location of the accidents. The DOI were quite active on certain parts of the course in the weeks leading up to the TT period. That's Gaz. Starlink is £40 a month. I'm talking about the lady with fibre problems. Starlink is £40 a month and a £20 setup fee. Forget fibre, fit it yourself, says Matt. Thank you, Matt. Well, that's easier said than done, isn't it? The UK, German and Dutch motorbike visitors' manners are impeccable, fantastic. But some Manx taxi drivers are a disgrace. Keep beeping at people all the time. No give way and no thanks. Take a tip from the visitors and be polite, says Anna. And that's it. Back with another open line for Friday. Text, email, call and WhatsApp tomorrow or call the answer phone. And thanks to Chris on the phones today. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday.
WINT